Welcome back to Axis Anime. My name is Henshin Ikeda, and so I'll be doing a walkthrough review of Ixion Saga Dimension Transfer Episode 17. And if you remember from last episode, we get to see the Olga sorority put Dukakis under house arrest. I'm like, dreams do come true. Thank you. So we're taken to a different scene with Varasian. Now Varasian actually boards the airship that E-Carlet and everyone else is on, and he's literally killing people left and right just to get to E-Carlet so he can assassinate her. However, the end result being, he pussies out, he just gives up, he throws in the towel, and he says, "You owe me, E-Carlet." I'm like, what? I was like, dude, now you're being all sympathetic and giving E-Carlet the reasonable doubt? Dude. I didn't see that coming, but hey, he had an amazing escape. When he leaves, he goes skydiving. I was like, dude, amazing ending for him, man. I love Varasian. He's amazing. So we're taken to a different scene toward the end of the episode, and guess what? The airship has landed, and we're finally in Jungleburg. And that's where the episode ends. And I'll hold my final thought and rating at the end of the clip, so stay tuned. But let's dive right on in. So we open up this episode in Jungleburg. That's right, the airship has landed in Jungleburg, and we're introduced to a new character right away. His name is Manas, and Manas is actually the chief of protocol, and he's welcoming everyone. So we're taken to a different scene with Cone, and Cone wastes no time. He asks Manas right away, "How do I get to Elvidia?" I mean, dude, you don't really waste any time. You just cut the bull, you asked him, and I love it. And this is basically what Manas basically tells Cone. Yeah, there is a research group that's basically studying everything about Elvidia in the city. And yeah, it's a secret. And Cone's like, well, come on, you can tell me something about it, right? No. I was like, what do you mean no? It's like, it's a secret, so I can't help you. And apparently, Manas also explains the rituals will be beginning tomorrow. So the rituals, the wedding rituals that E-Carlet has to do, they start tomorrow. And I'm like, Cone, I'm so sorry, man. I feel bad for you. You came all that way, and you're being told it's a secret, and they can't tell you anything. So we're taken to a different scene with Pet. And Pet, I don't know what Pet's real angle is, but basically he knows where the research group is, and he tells Cone, dude, I'll help you, man. I'm here for you. Hey, remember from last episode when you said that what happened? Come on. Pet always leaves Cone into a trap. Come on, I see this coming a mile away. But anyways, Cone takes Pet's help, and they find the Ixion Research Center, which apparently where the research group is probably going to be located at. I'm like, okay. Now Cone mentions nothing about the sign. Apparently Pet brings it up. Yeah, there's a sign. This is Pet. He's like, yeah, by the way, there's a sign that says you can't walk in without permission. And Cone's like, oh, you tell me this now. Type of an expression, you know? So instead of walking in through the front door, they're crawling. I'm like, yeah, there's nothing suspicious about that, really. One grown kid and a talking little squirrel walking in the front door and crawling. Yeah, it's so damn suspicious. So we're taken to a different scene with this receptionist. She's inside of the Ixion Research Center, and this is a really kind of a cute receptionist. She's sitting down and she's smiling. You can't see her eyes technically, and she's smiling, and Cone is telling her everything about him being a Hyperion and everything. I'm like, what is this, like an intro or something? Well, what the heck, man? This isn't an interview. But, you know, the receptionist, she's like nodding, her hands underneath the desk, and she presses the alarm button. I was like, that's exactly what I probably would have done if some crazy nut came in and broke in and asked all those kind of stupid questions and introduced themselves like that. I mean, that's just crazy. And I'm laughing my socks off. So we do see Pet bug out, so Pet's gone. I'm like, that's the smartest thing I've seen him do yet. And Cone, he kind of starts running, but we see all these guards kind of surround him, and basically the jig is up, and they toss him into a cell in the Ixion Research Center. I'm like, well, Cone, you came, you saw, and you got fucking arrested. Plain and simple, man. I thought it was hilarious. But sorry, I digress. Now we do see Cone, he's being tossed into the prison cell, and he's being questioned by some random person about Cone being a Hyperion. Well, Cone, you did open your mouth and say you were a Hyperion. So this is your just reward, man. You gotta learn to shut up. Plain and simple. So we're taken to a different scene with this interrogator. Now apparently the guy that's interrogating Cone, which is in the dark, his name is Yotagawa Allen. So I'm just gonna call him Allen for now. And Allen is like, we see him. Apparently Allen's this little kid with blonde hair, and he's the lab chief and president of the Ixion Research Center. Get out. The little kid. Really, Cone does not believe Allen's really the chief of the lab as well as the president. He doesn't believe it. In fact, he's poking fun out of this kid. And eventually, Cone and Allen come to an understanding. Basically, what Allen said is, I'm going to experiment on you, and because I'm going to experiment on you, you can ask, for each experiment, you can ask one question. I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. So he agrees to it, stupidly. This is him blindly agreeing, okay, you can experiment on me. Sure. run a few tests. So we see Cone and his body's being inspected. I'm like, okay. And we see those girls, one of the receptionists comes back with another girl. And I'm like, what kind of lab chief is this kid? I mean, he's like shooting all these different fetishes at him. Like, what the hell? You know, I thought Cone was bad when he screwed around with Pet a couple episodes ago, but this is just hilarious. Now, apparently the next experiment is Cone swimming and he practically drowns. Another weird effed up experiment. Now, eventually we get to see Alan answer a few of Cone's questions. However, it goes nowhere because Cone doesn't even ask the right questions. He gets stumped. I mean, come on, Cone. Seriously, so we're taking to a different scene with E-Carlet. Now, E-Carlet is wondering about Cone. I mean, is this really the last time she's going to see him? Is he really going home? I mean, we hardly ever see E-Carlet be this emotional about Cone. I mean, it's E-Carlet. Why does she care so much? We really don't know, but again, I like seeing it though. She's showing some sympathy toward Cone in general. However, we are taking to a different scene with Cone, and apparently he's now running, because the next experiment is Cone running a track, and he's being chased by an animal. It looks like a dog, but it's not a dog, at least not in my opinion. It's like some random monster. And I'm like, that's one hell of an experiment. What the hell is it supposed to prove? Seriously? And then there's a few other random experiments. I'm not going to go into detail about them. They're just really fucked up and pointless. So eventually we get to Alan and Cone talking, and they're exchanging info yet again. And apparently Cone asked the right questions this time, and Alan starts talking, and he's basically saying Alvidia is called the God's Castle, and we're being tossed a little information which we already knew to an extent. Apparently the gods who created the world, they live on Alvidia. I'm like, really? Alan, throw me a freaking bone here. What else do you got? So we're taking to a different scene with Alan, and basically Alan believes that Alvidia is run by Elma energy in general. That's how, I guess, Alvidia is able to fly in midair. Okay, that kind of makes sense. It's an interesting theory anyways. Now, I should point out we're taking to a different scene with Cone, and apparently he's run out of questions, and he's being thrown into more experiments. I'm like, come on, Cone, man, I thought you learned your lesson. But apparently he didn't ask the right questions yet again, so Cone's got more experiments. And eventually, Cone gets the exact information he wants. You know, he's done with the experiments. You know what? Cone gets the information he wants. And well, they're not exactly what he wanted to here, but you know, their questions he got answered regardless. So he's done. So he's about to walk out. He's about to leave. He's like, Alan, I'm done. I'm leaving. So we're taking to a different scene with Alan. And Alan pulls this little brother complex on Cone. You know, like, but brother. I'm like, okay, Alan's adorable, but this is just really uncomfortable and freaking weird. And eventually we find out, well, Alan was just trying to distract Cone while Alan's assistants, those two girls, handcuffed Cone and tossed him into what appears to be an experiment room. So we're taking to a different scene with Alan, and apparently he wanted to dissect Cone in general. So Alan wants to take Cone apart to see what makes him an Hyperion, and it looks like it was just going to get interesting. And then, yeah, Pet finally comes back, and Pet's here to save the day. So Pet does save Cone, and they get the hell out of Dodge, and they run away from Alan. And Alan basically says in a cute little brotherly voice, even if I do find out new information about Alvidia, I'll never tell you. And she's like, please come back. I thought it was hilarious. But again, that ends that scene. So we're taking to a different scene with Dukakis and all of his men. Apparently Dukakis' men have been reprimanded, and they're still under house arrest. Thank God. These guys are a bunch of morons. Literally. Each one of them with their own sick problems and how they're trying to cope with them. Hilarious. Now we're taken to a different scene with Dukakis, and apparently Dukakis wants to take his own actions independently, if that makes any sense. So Dukakis doesn't like being under house arrest, so he's basically ignoring the Olga sorority, and he's going to start acting on his own. So he wants to follow, you know, Cone in general, and he wants to infiltrate the Jungleberg territory. So I'm like, okay, things are getting interesting. And he's actually talking with Pharasian when he goes over this little plan. Now we are taking to a different scene with Menace. Yes, Menace. And Menace is basically telling everyone about all of the rituals, all 18 of the rituals, to E-Carlet and everyone else, and Cone is among them, of course. And eventually, you know, Menace basically says, yeah, the 18th ritual is about Alvidia, and that kind of sparks an interest to Cone. It's like, really? So tell me about it. What's this 18th ritual about Alvidia? Please tell me. And Menace is like, no. I'm like, what do you mean no? God damn it, stop saying no. But anyways, he basically says to Icarlet, you know, your servants are going to end up helping you with each one of these rituals because that's what they're here for. So Cone, you're going to end up helping, you know, Icarlet to find out everything you want to know about Elvidia, or at least this 18th ritual that has something to do with Elvidia. And we are taken to a different scene toward the end of the episode, and eventually the rituals begin. And that's it for the episode. As for my final thoughts, come on, are these rituals going to get even more stupider by the minute? Because they're just freaking hilarious. They chop down a damn tree. Come on, what kind of fucking ritual is that? Oh man, come on. And so on and so forth. These other rituals are just pathetic. But I'm wondering, is Manaz telling the truth? Is the last ritual the 18th ritual? Does it have something to do with Elvidia? Or is it just some fucked up little ritual that doesn't make any sense that's in honor of Elvidia? I don't really know, but it probably is. As for Dukakis, I'm wondering, next episode, how are you going to infiltrate the Jungleberg territory? If you think about the leader of Jungleberg, you know, the leader of Jungleberg, isn't he technically your boss? I mean, he actually hired you technically, right? Through the Elga sorority. So I'm wondering how that's going to work out. What happens once he finds out you're in here? Is he going to ignore, you know, Dukakis like he did to Verasion on the airship? We really don't know. As for Cone, dude, I wonder, Cone, if you are ever going to go home, because right now it looks like a goddamn rat race. Or one hell of a maze that you don't look like you're going to finish. But again, that is it for my final thoughts. As per my rating, 4 out of 5. Now, I want to give this a 3.5 out of 5 because there really wasn't any real fighting. But I'm giving this a 4 out of 5, and I'm going to tell you why. I need a good laugh. I'm being honest, guys. It's been a while since I've had a really good laugh. Ixion Saga makes me laugh, so I don't really care about the fighting right now because it can be put on pause because Dukakis is not going anywhere just yet until next episode. So my final rating is 3.5 out of 5 because I laughed my goddamn socks off because of Cone, because of Alan. Are you serious? And maybe because of Dukakis' subordinates, you know. They kind of made me a little laugh for a little bit. Was there any new information being thrown at us? Kind of, but not really. I mean, we already knew a little bit about Elvidia to begin with. Now we're just running in circles with the same BS mostly, so we're not really getting anywhere with this new information. But as for the romance and drama and the funny shit, it's definitely there. We see Icarlet, she's getting more emotional because Cone's about to leave apparently, or will be leaving, so she's getting a little more choked up about it. As for any real drama or romance, not really. Just watching Cone getting screwed over by Pet is worth it. But again, final rating, 4 out of 5. But again, guys, that ends it for my walkthrough and review of Ixion Saga Dimension Transfer episode 17. But definitely comment down below, let me know, thumbs up, thumbs down, definitely subscribe, check me out on Twitter, and follow me if you like. But definitely let me know what you thought of this episode, and let me know what you think's going to happen in the next episode that's coming out. But again, guys, that ends it for now, and I gotta go. I've had enough laughs, and you know, I gotta watch Magi later on probably. I'll save that for tomorrow, as well as Ikeda and 8 Dogs of the East. Definitely stay tuned for that. Either Monday for Magi and Tuesday for Ikeda. So definitely stay tuned for that, guys. But again, guys, I gotta go. I gotta hit the bricks before I go. I gotta say it, and I always say it. You can't stop the access, but you can watch the feed. I'll see you later, guys.